Cheers. Hi guys, I'm Maria. Welcome to Cine Club. You know how this goes. We watch new movies and I review them for you. And the movie I saw this week was The Other Woman, starring Cameron Diaz, Leslie Mann, and Kate Upton. Oh, and Jamie Lannister. Let's face it, he's Jamie Lannister, or the Kingslayer, and I'm not gonna call him by any other name throughout this entire review. And I hope you are okay with that. So you heard this story before and now you're hearing it again. Basically, Carly, played by Cameron Diaz, starts dating Jamie Lannister and everything is going fantastic. They've been dating for 2 months, they're starting to be exclusive when Carly finds out that, uh-oh, Jamie Lannister has a wife. But instead of hating each other and competing against each other, they decide to take the bastard down and become best friends. Which is totally likely, of course. So instead of confronting Jamie Lannister, they decide to do terrible, terrible things to him, like spiking his drink or putting stuff in his shampoo and just messing with him all around, because we are mature women and we don't do confrontation. No. Later on we find out it's not just Carly and the wife that have been cheated on. There is a third 21-year-old bombshell girlfriend, and they decide to get together and plot some type of revenge on poor Jamie Lannister. There was something about the beginning of this movie that made me feel that it would be maybe a little bit different. I like the idea that they were presenting that women would stick together in a time of crisis and not just scratch each other's eyes out because there's a man involved. Even though it seemed quite an unrealistic story, I was really interested in seeing how they would handle women's relationship, and that's what this movie seemed to be about. Not so much what are we gonna do about this guy who has cheated us all, but you know, this is how women do it. But there was something about how the movie was directed and edited that just made the sense of humor terrible. Don't get me wrong, I definitely laughed out loud in certain scenes throughout the movie because Cameron Diaz and Leslie Mann together were really great. They had great chemistry. But overall, it just felt like the jokes weren't funny to start with, and then they just dragged out the scenes, and at one point it was just awkward. One of the first scenes is when Leslie Mann's character, Kate, confronts Cameron Diaz's character about possibly sleeping with her husband, and she finds out and she starts having a breakdown and a panic attack, and there's a story about windows opening, and the scene went on for so long and it was so over dramatic and cartoony. It was strange. The humor was completely off, and someone like Leslie Mann, who has been extremely funny in many movies in the past, was just such a weird character in this movie. The character of Kate is a character you're supposed to feel any kind of sympathy for because she's the one who's been cheated by this awful guy. She's borderline psycho and obsessive with everything that is happening with her husband and just completely being so into his husband's mistresses. She stalks Cameron Diaz and forces her to be her friend. When she finds out there is a third girl, she's just obsessed about finding out who she is and making her feel like, oh, it's not your fault whatsoever. And so her character, all in all, is just really annoying and kind of pathetic. The other thing that was supposed to be very cool about this movie was seeing 3 women come together in a time of crisis for all of them and becoming really good friends and having a really interesting bond and chemistry between them. But really, it's the Cameron Diaz and Leslie Mann show. Kate Upton shows up halfway through the movie as, of course, the gorgeous big boob girl who the guy just can't resist, but she has no role in this situation whatsoever except being the girl who's pretty and kind of dumb, because the movie makes sure you know that as well. And I understand this is what she was hired for. She was hired to be pretty and to be sexy, but it would have been amazing if she could have been part of the actual group as opposed to just, you know, the little girl who kind of wants to be around but really doesn't contribute anything whatsoever. And that's the other thing about this movie. They just managed to stereotype every single character in this movie. And for a movie that's already kind of unrealistic, if you just label every single character, the movie just feels very cartoony and just silly all around. Jamie Lannister's character ends up being like the biggest douchebag in the world, and I don't just mean because he cheats on his wife and on his girlfriend and on his other girlfriend, but they just make sure that you think of him as the worst guy in the world, so it doesn't matter any of the things that happen to him because he is 100% evil. I would have much preferred if they had made him a little bit more human, like maybe he's the guy who cheated on his wife but still really loved her, or maybe he was really falling for one of them and he wasn't sure what to do, and that maybe would have made the girls be a little confused and they were not sure about their plan, and maybe one of them would doubt each other, and that would have been a little bit more complex and a little bit more real as well. And to top it all off, this movie was so strangely edited, and I don't think that's something I would have ever noticed in a movie. There are scenes that just went on for far too long and absolutely had no purpose, and there's some scenes that are thrown in the middle, and not even like long scenes, just these very short scenes, and you just end up feeling like, why am I actually watching this? There's a scene of Cameron Diaz and a new love interest in a restaurant, and literally there's like 3 lines between them, and from that you're supposed to get that there's a chemistry going on between them, and then it's just cut and it's a new day and nothing else happens about it. And it happens a lot even at the end where everything is going down. There's a scene that I think they thought it was going to be very funny. It involves like glass windows again and glass doors. It was so awkward. It was the most awkward scene and kind of dark and kind of weird for this movie. It felt completely out of place. Everybody knows that comedy is all about timing, and if you don't have good timing or good editing, any kind of comedy moment that you had in this movie, and there weren't many, just goes right out the window. So if I had to rate The Other Woman, I would have to say you should just watch it on Netflix, if at all. I'm not saying the movie is horrendous. It's kind of funny. I laughed here and there. I'm just saying it's not the comedy of the year, and it's not the girl power revenge movie that they're leading you to believe it is. It's the kind of movie you watch if you're bored at home or you have a few friends and there's nothing else to watch because Cameron Diaz is in it and a few other names you recognize. But guys, that's just my opinion. Tell me, what did you think about The Other Woman? If you haven't seen it, tell me, what is your favorite girl power movie? Whatever your answer is, comment down below and let me know. But guys, that's everything for this review of The Other Woman. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed talking to you about it. If you like this video, don't forget to like it and give it a thumbs up. That's always appreciated. And if you really liked it, go ahead and share it with someone you know is a big movie fan. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I got a new movie review every week for you. That kind of rhymed. And so I hope you stay tuned. I also hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you on our next movie date. And when Johnny Depp's character is in fact a computer and he's gaining more and more power and things are clearly turning to the dangerous side, she is so oblivious to this. And then she's so shocked that he could even become this. And I'm thinking, aren't you a scientist? Aren't you like aware that this could have happened? You really never saw this coming? Come on. But instead of going crazy on each other, they decide to become friends and take the bastard down, because men who cheat are everywhere. They are everywhere. I gotta face that.